What is up, guys? Welcome to the Amped Up Podcast, Friday, September 1st, 2023. Good to be back in the office studio for a minute. Didn't think I was going to be able to record a podcast for you guys today, but when I looked at the calendar, I said, wait a second, man, it's already September. Brand new month. There is no way we are not starting this off fully amplified. There's no way we're not doing a podcast today, man. We got to start the month off correct. We got to start the month off legit. We got to start the month off amplified. So salute, guys. In today's podcast, this is a big weekend. This is the go-home show tonight on SmackDown for PayBack. That's actually going to be Saturday night, 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that's tomorrow night for the majority of us. Saturday night. Now, a day later, AEW is coming at you with their All Out event, their second pay-per-view in just 1 week. So there's a lot to go over in this podcast. We'll go over the Payback card. We'll go over the All Out card. We'll go over the betting odds for Payback. I actually have those. Vegas has spoken. And when it comes to Payback, tomorrow night, there's 6 advertised matches. And perhaps not shocking, the betting odds from Vegas, but it tells an underwhelming story. What am I talking about? That's the cold open teaser. You're going to have to wait till a little bit later on. I'll tell you guys why this card, it has some potential, but the outcomes could be very underwhelming. We'll go over it in this podcast. Also, WWE, guys, in 1 day, 1 hour, WWE's value dropped over $1 billion. Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, Endeavor lost almost $1 billion. Everybody, every suit and tie within WWE and Endeavor, they ran at 180 miles an hour head first through the nearest brick wall they could find. We'll talk about how WWE lost over $1 billion in value in this podcast. I'll give you guys exact details on how this happened. Also, Tony Khan, enough is enough. We've been saying this for days, weeks, and months now. But his latest response as to if Phil Brooks will be in Chicago this weekend for All Out. This is the problem with Tony Khan. This is the problem with AEW. If we can solve this company has a real shot at being viable competition to WWE. There's no reason AEW isn't massive right now. No reason. There's only one problem. And it's exactly what Tony Khan said in his response about Phil Brooks. We'll have the response. We'll talk about it, man. It's basically like an intervention within the whole wrestling community that needs to be had with Tony Khan. We're going to talk about it. And LA Knight's response to The Miz from Monday. Miz absolutely rocked an LA Knight impersonation on Monday. However, LA Knight's response brought that tumbling down. So as you can tell, man, it's a packed. What am I doing? It's been a minute. It is a packed, stacked, jacked podcast today. All you got to do is smash that up. Let BC know you're fully amplified. Grab your coffees and let's lock in the earbuds, of course. This could take a minute. Once we start talking pro wrestling, it could take a minute. So lock in the earbuds. Then down your coffees and let's get amplified. Salud. All right. Now, I want to get started on a lighthearted note. You guys got to hear this. If you saw Miz on Monday night, it was absolutely hilarious. Yeah, what? Let me talk to you. Yeah, what? Let me talk to you. Miz was off the wall, man, impersonating LA Knight, but it was so damn good. And then afterwards, Miz completely got amplified, right? And amplified Miz is best for business over comedy Miz. I think we all would agree on that. Well, listen to LA Knight recently in an interview or a podcast. This is a quote from LA Knight. Listen to this. LA Knight absolutely slams right back on The Miz. Let me get a swig of coffee, and I'll give you the exact quote from LA Knight to The Miz. So LA Knight says this in response to Miz's performance on Monday. This past Monday, what? He dressed up like me. That makes sense now, doesn't it? Because I think, like I said last week on Raw, he is jealous of me. And you know why? Because he always wanted to be me. Now, I'm not saying that he knew who LA Knight was years ago, but what I mean is he wanted the level of success that I've come across. He wanted the adulation that I've come across. He's wanted the reactions that I've gotten. People chanting his name, quoting him, and instead the best reaction he's ever got in his entire career was walking out as me just a couple nights ago on Raw. Yeah. Let me repeat that last sentence because this is great. This is awesome. Had to do it, Miz. People chanting his name, quoting him is what he wanted. And instead, the best reaction he's ever gotten in his entire career was walking out as me just a couple nights ago on Raw. Come on, bro. LA Knight goes Beast Savage mode on Miz. So this is shaping up. It's kind of sad that it's tomorrow night because I don't mind Miz and LA Knight rocking out on the mic. I feel it's got legs to stand on, you know, and this could go another month or two. Back and forth on the mic, get creative on the attack angles, maybe backstage, in the road, outside one of the arenas, right? Get creative, have fun with this, and you could have something good with the Miz and LA Knight for a couple of months. BC, are you saying you need to see a Miz feud for a couple of months? Well, I'm saying that this so far has been really good. Tomorrow night, does it just end right there? Do you guys need to see another month of this after we've already seen the payoff at Payback? That's the problem, right? After we've already seen this match, if they tried to go another month with this to the next pay-per-view, are we really going to care as much? But so far, everything they've been doing, they've been knocking this thing out of the park, man. So I had to start the podcast off with a little bit of lighthearted humor. LA Knight's response back over to the Miz's performance on Monday night. Now, I think what I want to do is I'm going to go over to, let's just rip the Band-Aid right off, man. Tony Khan. Tony Khan's response recently, this was a conference call for the All Out event. I think Brandon Thurston actually asked the actual question about CM Punk's status for the event. And a slight paraphrase, but Tony Khan said, I'm not sure. I really don't know. He's basically not just deflecting, but he's telling you, I don't know, 50-50. He says it's pending an investigation. Sound familiar? This is what we've heard for months. Pending investigation after the Brawl Out scrum. The difference with this one is that Tony Khan was right there. All reports say that Tony Khan was right there when the incident between Phillip Brooks and Jack Perry took place. And at the bare minimum, every report says that throughout the day, CM Punk was chewing out Tony Khan. That was a legit quote. Chewing out Tony Khan. Other reports saying that he was screaming at Tony Khan. He was pissed off. Other reports say that he hates this place. That was a quote from Phil Brooks about AEW. I hate this place. So Tony Khan throughout the day was getting his ass chewed out by his own talent, CM Punk. That alone should be a red flag. Then the incident happens. And this isn't about whose blame it is, guys. Jack Perry's blame, Elite's blame, Phil Brooks. It doesn't matter at this point. Phillip Brooks is the common denominator. Phillip Brooks is treating Tony Khan like he works for him. Phillip Brooks is acting like he runs the place. Phillip Brooks is the one who's telling and demanding shit out of talent, his own brothers and sisters. You can't do that, man. It's got to be Tony Khan, especially when most of the locker room doesn't even like Phillip Brooks right now, and vice versa, right? You probably shouldn't be the one to tell talent certain things. Go to Tony and say, dude, I don't want this. Make sure it doesn't get done. That probably would have been a better play. But no, we'll just go this route and just have a brawl every single pay-per-view, overshadow the event, make AEW look Bush League, get suspended, and then put Tony Khan in a press conference where he can't answer any questions. And then we rinse and repeat, and we replay the vicious cycle over and over. You could go an entire hour with the ridiculousness of it all, but that about sums it up. So now you ask this question. Okay, All Out is literally a couple of days away. Chicago needs to know. The audience about to buy their second pay-per-view in 1 week. And if they're buying WWE, then it's their third pay-per-view in a week that they're about to purchase. They would like to know if we're told one of the top stars still in today's pro wrestling world, even though the ratings aren't telling us that, and he's starting the show in a match with Samoa Joe that easily could be missed and nobody would have cared. It easily could have just been on Collision like it was the first time. Right? But okay, he's one of the biggest stars, and he's nowhere near the main event and All In, and he's in this weird match with Samoa Joe, a rematch. Ratings are 3, 4, 500,000 on Saturday night, and that's before college football and real stiff competition comes. But okay, let's play along like Phil Brooks is still a massive star that brings in all of these numbers and ratings and statistics. Let's act like that's the truth, okay? Maybe Chicago, maybe the buying audience for All Out would like to know if he's going to be there Sunday. It's a simple question asked by Brandon Thurston. I don't know, says Tony Khan. Unsure. Pending an investigation. There's a chance, but a good chance maybe not. Do you realize you're running a business here? Do you realize you are a wrestling promoter? Do you realize the audience deserves to know who's going to be there? I could see if you're planning like some big surprise. But this isn't part of a work. This isn't part of an angle. This is a real situation that transpired with real suspensions, with a dude that's yet again in trouble in his hometown, home city of Chicago. The audience there is going to want to know. The audience paying for their second or possibly third pay-per-view in a week, they're going to want to know if the dude's on the show. And he's over here talking about investigations. Investigations? You were right there. Investigations? You know what happened more than anybody. Even the parts that you weren't there for. By now, you know. Investigations? You know if this dude is suspended or not, if he's going to be in Chicago or not. Enough is enough. Stop trying to be so damn mysterious or not give anything away that should be known to the public viewing audience because they're buying tickets to the show or they're buying the pay-per-views. Just come out and say he's not going to be there. Or couldn't find my fucking balls, so he is going to be there. But pick one, bro. This in-between shit after 5 years of this company, enough is enough. And now it's getting to the point, we all want Tony Khan to succeed, because if Tony succeeds, AEW succeeds. If AEW succeeds, WWE has a viable competitor, and that's been needed for over a decade easily. More than a decade. But now it's getting to the point where I'm starting to lose respect for the fucking dude. Because he just doesn't understand what needs to be distributed. It seems like it's a vanity project. Like it's just a super fan who came into a lot of money and he's just playing with his toy wrestlers. The only difference is it's like real humans as his toy wrestlers. And he's just making cards that just he likes. He gives the news that only he wants to, not that should be out there. It's very odd. Very odd. It's a simple question by Brandon Thurston. Is Punk suspended and out of All Out, or is he not and he's going to be there? We don't know. An investigation is happening, and possibly the investigation is up this week, and we'll know last minute. But we don't know. We're going to investigate more. Everything is a damn investigation. When you have multiple investigations in a year backstage, you're probably running a sloppy shop. Cut the shit, Tony. Cut the shit. That's a harsh truth. I understand. But even diehard, tried and true AEW fans have had enough with this shit. Even CM Punk fans, it's really cool to see the last week. Even CM Punk fans are like, BC, I gotta agree, man. This is a little out of hand now. Whether he's at fault or the instigator or pushing and poking the bear, pushing the buttons, it doesn't matter anymore. Something has to change in this company. They can't keep running huge events and it's overshadowed by one dude and all of these fights backstage and all of this drama and all of this bickering and arguing. Something has to give. It is clear that when he says, we heard the comment that Punk said, I hate this place. But he told you that many months ago at the Brawl Out media scrum when he said, I'm miserable here. Remember, those were his words. I'm miserable. Now he says, I hate this place. Do you think that's going to change 4 months, 8 months, a year down the road? You think everybody's just going to shake hands and do adult business and be hunky-dory and Punk's going to show up to work happy every day? No, that's not how this is going to play out. He's been miserable from day one. He has hated this place from day one. Punk and AEW need to get a divorce. Some marriages have to end in divorce. It sucks to say that. It is clear Tony does not know how to manage or be the boss of Punk. That's clear. Punk does not look at Tony as a real boss. There is no doubt that Punk looks at Tony Khan and chuckles, if not feels bad for the dude. Because he looks at Tony Khan and he knows that he couldn't manage a Target full of employees. Sound familiar? And that's not even shade to Tony Khan. He does a lot of things and a lot of things good. One of those is not managing talent. Tony Khan cannot manage talent. He's not good at it. Just not good at it. He makes a bunch of people EVPs just so they'll sign a bunch of individuals, EVPs, on the same day, same hour. Just sign here on the dotted line. You can have power. You can have power. You can have power. You get a car. You get a car. He's a real Oprah Winfrey. Everybody gets a car. Everybody gets a contract. Everybody's an EVP. He lets talent walk over him. When asked, he doesn't make decisive decisions. No, instead, he uses code word investigation, which again is code for I'm hoping a lot of time passes and nobody will realize I never made a decisive decision about the said topic. All right? Investigation is a code word for I can't make up my mind and I can't make up a decision. I can't manage these dudes. I can't boss them or be their boss. That's code. Investigation is the key word, right? That's the code word. Investigation. And I'm hoping that enough time passes and people just move on to the next topic or the next big brawl backstage. He's off the hook. He never had to make a decision. He didn't have to boss people. He didn't have to manage them. He didn't have to lay down the law and order. No, Tony Khan just got walked on, hope that everything gets better without actually addressing the issues, and wash your hands with it all. There's no doubt CM Punk looks at Tony Khan, and as much as he can't stand Vince McMahon, or they had their issues in the past, he knows at least Vince McMahon didn't allow this type of a sloppy shop. Vince had sloppy shop in so many other areas, no question. Trust me, we've ripped them apart on it. But this is something that can be managed. This is something that can be controlled and stopped if Tony Khan just became a boss of the promotion. And that's all AEW fans are asking for. Trust me, running this channel for as many years as I have the pulse of the AEW audience, and they're finally saying enough. A lot of them said enough at the Brawl Out scrum. What happened was a couple of months passed, and everyone was like, just like Tony was hoping for. Time passed. Time heals all wounds. Okay, I'm ready for Punk to come back. I think everybody learned their lesson, right? And BC was over here going, no, don't let everybody off the hook, guys, because it's going to keep happening, right? Nothing's changed because nothing was truly addressed. And sure enough, everybody goes, no, BC, it's fine, man. I think time, everybody knows now not to do this again. And we just did it again. And now everybody's doing it again. Oh, BC, I agree, man. This is enough. And I'm hoping that 2 months don't pass and we all do it again. BC, it's Christmas time, man. I think everybody learned their lesson. Let's do it again, BC. And then another AEW event, a big event, gets overshadowed. It's gotta stop. And it starts and stops with Tony Khan because we're told he's the boss of the company. We're told he's the head guy. The problem is we can't seem to find out if that's true or not because Tony Khan has not given us any signs that he's the actual boss or the actual manager of these talents. And then you got people like head of talent relations that would be his wingman, right? Christopher Daniels. The problem with that is he's getting sent home. When he tries to show up to the arena, Phillip Brooks has him sent home. Management that is supposed to be under Christopher Daniels, head of talent relations, the people under him say we have to send you home to keep the peace. Brooks is upset. Oh no, Brooks is upset. We gotta make sure that Phillip Brooks is happy 24/7, or we cannot run a sufficiently good running company. A company that is looked at as not amateur or bush league or little league. A company that one day could be viable competition to VKM's WWE. No. We got to make sure Phil Brooks is happy in order to even try to have a chance to be something that's looked at as a real professional wrestling company. All Out passed. It's been days away, removed from All Out. And do you know what we're still talking about? This. And it's not just BC talking about it. Look at the headlines. Nobody's talking about MJF and Adam Cole Baby. Nobody's talking about the first match of the night, Punk and Samoa Joe. Nobody's talking about the 4-way women's title match, Toni Storm, Saraya winning the championship, Toni Storm, Britt Baker, Saraya losing the title after holding it for, a month? Nobody's talking about any of that. Nobody's talking about FTR and the Young Bucks for the third time? Nobody's talking about any of it. Nobody's even talking about All Out, which is just 2 days away. Nobody talking about All Out. We're talking about the drama backstage, Jack Perry, CM Punk, and Tony not having the balls to make decisive decisions so that Chicago knows what's going on, much less the viewing audience that is going to tune in to pay-per-view and give him their money. You see, because Chicago is burnt out. You want to talk facts? BC's on a roll. It's been a minute since I've been in the office studio. The coffee's kicking in, and BC's fully amplified. So let's talk truth, if you don't mind, after a swig of coffee. And we're going to talk Chicago in AEW. All right, so Chicago is running Dynamite this past Wednesday. Did you see the crowd? Did you listen to the crowd? First of all, people in attendance say a bunch of fucking seats, not even filled. Sections, not even filled. That's Chicago. If you listen to the arena, man, quiet. Not saying crickets, but damn near. Look at the crowd. They weren't interested for more than half the night. This is Chicago. This isn't some little town in a flyover state. This is Chicago. And you would never know it if they didn't tell you and you saw and you heard that crowd. You would never know it's Chicago. They've been burnt out from AEW wrestling. Now you're asking them to come back Sunday for All Out. And you can't even tell them if their hero, Phil Brooks, is going to be there or not. You can't even tell them that. Can't even tell them because you don't know. There's an investigation. Could be 2 days, could be 2 months. We don't know. Could be over 2 months, like the Brawl Out shit. So you can't even tell your audience what it's going to be. You can't tell your audience if he's going to be there or not. We don't know. But buy the pay-per-view, show up. Good chance he's not going to be because he is suspended. But I didn't give you an actual answer. So you have All Out now. You have Chicago, who's already burnt out, showing up to an event where you're not even being honest with them. Tony Khan was booed. He went out there on Wednesday night. This was off camera. He went out there. He was half booed. Half the crowd booed Tony Khan, guys. And there's reports that usually when they're in Chicago, he comes out 2 to 3 times at least to say what's up to Chicago, set up the dark matches or any pre-tapes or post-tapes that need to be done. He only came out once, and half the crowd booed him. So that tells you that people are not happy the way he's doing a lot of business backstage and how he's promoting these events for Chicago even. The big issue here too, aside from the other ones we just addressed, how many times are you going to go to Chicago in a calendar year? We understand, right? We say that's what Madison Square Garden, what WWE's New York is to that company, right? What New York is to WWE, Chicago is to AEW. The problem is WWE isn't even running Madison Square Garden that many times. Barclays Center a couple, okay. But it seems like they're in Chicago 10 times a year. At what point are you ruining the prestige of AEW in Chicago? At what point is it enough? As a fan who's not from Chicago, BC will tell you it's exhausting hearing every single event is going to be in Chicago. And now you're starting to see Chicago have fatigue. Again, AEW's coming? Fuck, man. Let me take out... What credit card do I have left? I already bought the first 9 events, man. It's only September, and they're coming back for a 10th time. There's other cities. Stop with this Chicago shit. Much love to Chicago, by the way. But damn! Spread the love around a little bit. Do they not? Are they not confident that they could sell those tickets? Maybe that's the case. But let's relax a little bit and let's start moving across the board. Or right there in Illinois. Go to another town maybe or city. The fatigue is setting in. And us, everybody at home, watching in the bar, at their buddy's house, they're looking and listening to that crowd, and it's pretty fatigued. It's burnt out. And then you find out it's Chicago, and it becomes sad and depressing. Just like the situation behind the scenes in AEW. This all-out pay-per-view buy rate, whoa, this could take a massive hit. I wouldn't be surprised if the Forbidden Door pay-per-views far surpass the buy rate for this event. I mean, if you look at the... What's the card? Give me the card for All Out. Let's see. If you don't mind, I want to look up the card real quick. Because something tells me this is all just thrown together in the past week, 2 weeks, maybe a couple of matches. Something tells me these are all matches you could see on Dynamite or Collision or even Rampage, right? So if you don't mind, let me see the whole card and we'll run it down, man. So All Out currently has 9 matches all just chucked out there within the last 7 days, basically. A couple of matches were 2 weeks. 9 matches. To put that in perspective, WWE's running an event tomorrow night, PayBack, 6 matches. So, I mean, this is all rushed, and Tony Khan is just putting quantity over quality. Sometimes it's better to run less matches. But this is what Tony Khan has. AEW International Championship, Orange Juice, freshly squeezed Orange Juice Cassidy versus Jon Moxley. TNT Championship, Luchasaurus the Dinosaur versus Darby Allin. TBS Championship, Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. ROH World Tag Titles, MJF and Adam Cole defending the titles to be announced. ROH World Television Championship, Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor. Kenny Omega versus Takeshita, if you're MJF. Miro versus Powerhouse Hobbs. Bullet Club Gold versus the Young Bucks and FTR in an 8-man schmaz tag. Eddie Kingston and Shibata versus Claudio and Wheeler Utah in a tag match. What are we doing? You just bought all that. You paid for All In. Let's just say you're gonna buy PayBack too. What are you paying your money for? Powerhouse Hobbs versus Miro. Chris Statlander versus Ruby Soho. Samoa Joe versus Shane Taylor. Claudio and Eddie Kingston in a fucking schmaz tag team match. Bullet Club Gold versus the Young Bucks and FTR in an 8-man tag schmaz. That would be a main event on Rampage or Dynamite, maybe. All of these matches are matches you would see on Dynamite or Collision or even Rampage, guys. Luchasaurus, Darby Allin, Shane Taylor, Samoa Joe. MJF and Adam Cole in action. Great, good to know who they're taking on. Juice Cassidy and Mox, main event of Dynamite. I mean, what? You didn't build anything. You put a bunch of matches on a card, and you said, "Hey, this is a pay-per-view now." And Chicago now has to eat this up. Now, whether he shows up or not, you could see CM Punk is not on this card. Period. So, and Tony Khan is like, he could be there. We don't know. It's pending the investigation. Buy the tickets. Buy the pay-per-view. It's 50-50 at this point. What are you talking about? You know there was a big incident that took place. You admitted that at the media scrum right after All In. You admitted that. Reports say you were right there. You don't need an investigation to say this dude is suspended for the next 2 months, bottom line, and we're going to see. We're going to have a real talks as an entire locker room, as an entire company, and I am going to have real big one-on-one talks with Phillip Brooks, and things are going to start changing. You just tell your audience that, so that the world knows that you're not running an actual circus, you're running a wrestling promotion, even though sometimes we mix the two together. No, Phillip Brooks, and I don't know we were hearing it was going to be CM Punk versus Ricky Starks if he wasn't suspended. But, okay, that's at least better than Samoa Joe versus CM Punk, the first match of the night at All In. That's what you said he was the savior of AEW? That's what you said is one of the biggest stars in pro wrestling still to this day in 2023. And the best you got is Samoa Joe in the first match of one of your biggest shows in company history? That doesn't seem a little off to you? No, the booking of Phil Brooks is off. The handling of Phil Brooks is off. The relationship with AEW and Phil Brooks is off. I don't know if there's enough coffee in the world to hold those talks between the entities. But that's your all-out card. And that's my thoughts on the Tony Khan situation. And because I know you guys are going to be busy. Did you hear what Khan said about AEW's All Out and Phil Brooks? He doesn't know. He says there's an investigation. We just don't have a timetable. Yeah. Oh, I heard about it. And that's exactly... those are the amplified thoughts on it. It's absolutely pathetic, man. Something's got to give eventually. Listen, we went over the all-out card. Let's go over real quick, if you don't mind, the payback card. This is for tomorrow night. This is what WWE is producing on their pay-per-view premium live event, PLE. There's 6 confirmed matches announced. Now, we are hearing that no titles, according to Vegas and the betting odds, no titles are going to change hands. That's what they're hearing. That could be looked at as pretty underwhelming, so you're going to have to get really creative with the finishes. The 6 confirmed matches: WWE World Heavyweight title, Sethington Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. Sethington is the huge favorite to win that match and keep his title. WWE Women's World title, Rhea Ripley, your champion, challenger Raquel Rodriguez. Rhea Ripley, the huge favorite, according to Vegas in those betting odds, to keep her title, win that match. Undisputed WWE Tag Team Championships, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, your title holders versus challengers Damian Priest, Finn Balor of Judgment Day. This is a rematch of a rematch of a rematch of a rematch of a rematch. And Sammy and KO are the odds-on favorite heavily to keep their titles and win this match. United States Championship matchup. Rey Mysterio, your title holder, versus Theory, your challenger. Mysterio is the odds-on favorite to win this match. Steel cage match. Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. Trish Stratus, the odds-on favorite to lose this match. Becky Lynch, by a landslide, is currently the odds-on favorite. L.A. Knight versus Miz. L.A. Knight is the current betting odds favorite to win that match. That is your payback card as of now. Now, sticking with WWE, if you don't mind, a huge landslide just happened to them, man. They get when it comes crushing down, right? Hulk Hogan's theme song. They just lost in value over $1 billion, guys, in basically an hour. The Saudi PIF Public Investment Fund acquired a minority stake in Mixed Martial Arts Promotion Professional Fighters League. That's the name of the Mixed Martial Arts Promotion, Professional Fighters League. And Saudi Arabia's PIF Public Investment Fund just acquired that for $100 million, a minority stake worth approximately $100 million of an investment. Once that was made public, WWE dropped from $9.6 billion in valuation to $8 billion, guys. So when I say over $1 billion, I'm talking $1.6 billion lost in value in the blink of an eye, snap of a finger, drop of a hat. The second that deal with Saudi was made, And it was announced that they have acquired a minority stake in Professional Fighters League. WWE dropped from $9.6 billion to $8 billion in value. And Endeavor went from $7.4 billion to $6.6 billion, just a couple $100 million away from losing a full $1 billion. This is the 51% lead stakeholder for WWE now. You could call it a merger, but Endeavor now owns WWE. For all intents and purposes, that's the way you can look at it. Vince McMahon now has a boss, and that's Endeavor, and that's Ari. Well, Endeavor just lost nearly $1 billion once that was called as well. And the whole reason, let me give you an exact, this is an article from Forbes. This will better put it into a few paragraphs for you, better than BC can. This is from Forbes. I believe, who is this? This was Mike Ozanian, I believe, who wrote this article. And it greatly details this whole situation. So I'm just going to quote the article, if you don't mind, for a few paragraphs. In the 2 days since it was reported that SRJ Sports Investments, a company launched earlier this month by Saudi Arabia's Public Investment Fund, acquired a minority stake in mixed martial arts promotion Professional Fighters League for $100 million. World Wrestling Entertainment's market capitalization has plummeted to $8 billion from $9.6 billion, while Endeavor Group Holdings, owner of UFC and WWE market cap, they dropped to $6.6 billion from an initial $7.4 billion. The UFC is by far the biggest MMA promotion in the world and is among the most valuable global sports brands. Perhaps more important is it is led by Dana White, among the top sports entrepreneurs of this century. WWE, meanwhile, despite the popularity of its recent challenger All Elite Wrestling, is still by far more popular on television. And its WrestleMania franchise, essentially the Super Bowl of professional wrestling, set records for viewership, gate, sponsorship, merchandise, and social media in April. And of course, its CEO, Vince McMahon, has been a visionary. Take a breath, folks. Even if the $100 million investment in the PFL becomes $200 million or $300 million, it still doesn't come close to the equaling $2.4 billion that is currently in flux. So the author of this Forbes article is saying, whoa, that was an overreaction in the market. Everybody heard that Saudi Arabia is doing their own kind of mixed martial arts promotion, right? They're dabbing in their own kind of UFC and entertainment juggernaut like WWE, even though this is actual combat where WWE is rehearsed and staged and choreographed. But they look at it like, wait a second, they're already starting to create their own thing over here. It's only a matter of time before they stop giving WWE and Endeavor hundreds of millions of dollars to bring their people over there. They're doing their own thing now. So the stock was like, oh no, we're getting out now. We're going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars. The author of this Forbes article is saying, not so fast. First of all, that's way, many moons in the future before we even get to that point. Because Saudi Arabia is just now dabbing into to investing in other things like WWE and UFC. On top of that, this author, Mike Ozanian of Forbes, is saying, on top of that, WWE and UFC has such a head start and is so damn popular that is an overreaction even for years to come. So that's a big, bold statement, and I got to agree with this Mike dude from Forbes. I got to agree, that was a heavy overreaction in the first hour of the announcement. It's like, hold up, let's get our facts in order, our ducks in a row, let's see the trajectory before we lose over $1 billion a piece, Endeavor and WWE. Anyway, that's some financial talk. I don't want to bore you guys if you haven't a clue what we're talking about, but that's the financial side of things. On this channel, we talk all numbers, metrics, statistics, ratings to financials, behind the curtain, in front of the curtain, in the ring. We talk it all, man. It's a podcast that covers all things pro wrestling. So the financials are a big part of that. So that's what's going on, man. They lost over $1 billion in valuation. That was nuts to see that. In fact, for the first time in a long time, they went under $100 WWE stock pricing. Crazy to look at, man. It all happened so quick. And Vince McMahon was probably like, oh, what the hell? Blame it on my doofus son-in-law. Poor Paul Levesque McMahon's like, what I do, Vince? All I did was sign AOP, the authors of pain. Oh, man, too funny. Anyway, guys, all right, we went kind of long on this one. BC has things to do, a lot of business to attend to. I'm glad I was able to get this podcast out to you guys, man. Start September the right way. Always means a lot to start off on the right foot. And before we take off, I think you guys know exactly what. I got to give some shout-outs over to some Amplified Unit members, man. These are super thanks, super chats from yesterday's live. No, not a live stream. This was yesterday's straight-up podcast. We were not live. I hope to be live soon, at least for my channel members. I want to do something special for my channel members, like a live channel member chat only. Everybody will be able to check it out, but channel members only will be in the chat. Maybe I can do something like that with Payback or the review. We'll see, man. There's a lot of business to attend to, but we'll see if I can do something like that for my channel members. But WWE, AEW, Marvel fan with that 5-spot coffee, I appreciate that, dude. Big time. WWE, AEW, Marvel fan is not just a gold card channel member, but nearly every, if not every podcast, he throws a coffee at the channel. So I appreciate you, brother. And Ron C23 with a 2-spot coffee. Ron C23. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Always good to see Ron C23. Also a gold card member. JR9 Gaming. He's got his 14th NXT Amplified Roundup. I applaud you guys to go over there and check out the NXT review. I haven't even had the chance to do that yet. I'll be doing that at some point, JR9 Gaming, man. The positives and negatives, and this looks like a long one, man. A lot to say on NXT. It'll be interesting to check that out. I appreciate the coffee, JR9 Gaming, and the review and report, the 14th edition Gold Card Channel member status, JR9 Gaming, man. Check that out. Yesterday's podcast. Go into the comments. Check out JR9 Gaming's NXT review and report. He is thorough and he kicks ass in that shit. So I can't wait to check that out. JR9 Gaming. Appreciate it, brother. And Angel Alega with a 10-spot, man. A few more coffees celebrating 7 months of membership. Angel Alega, I appreciate the coffees more than anything. I said this a million times. Always good to see you up in these comments and chats, man. Angel Alega, who just dropped a mini banger bomb in the podcast before. So a bunch of coffees chucked at the channel. And then, on top of that, guys, Stegmeister. Ash Stegmeister Stegels, brah. I got to give a big shout out. A banger bomb. Hold on, I just lost on the big screen. A 50-spot banger bomb from Stegmeister. The Fiend Ash. 50-spot was just thrown in that last podcast. That is a bunch of coffees. Not only is it good seeing Stegmeister up here, but he knows how to rock, get that party rocking, man, and started. So, Stegmeister, I totally agree on the Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt. Nice tribute there, man. And sorry to hear that the Tube was giving you some issues last week. But I knew that you were giving them mad props, man. Hopefully BC made them pretty proud as well in the tributes that we gave Terry Funk and Bray Wyatt over the course of last week, man. So, Stegmeister, appreciate that little tribute, man. I appreciate the coffee. It's so good to see you up in here. We're ending the podcast with that banger bomb. So we didn't start the party rocking with Stegmeister's banger bomb, but we're going to end the podcast rocking out fully amplified thanks to Stegmeister's banger bomb. How's that sound? We started We end it either way. The whole podcast, we remain amplified because of people like Stegmeister, Angel Alega, WWE AEW Marvel fan, JR9 Gaming, Ron C23. Damn, a bunch of coffees in that last podcast. All right, BC's fully amped. You can tell, man. I got to fucking down the last sip here, which I've been nursing to try to get through this podcast. Then I'm going to go out and double fist 2 new coffees, and I'm going to whoop today's ass. SmackDown tonight. We're going to have a review tomorrow. Might be audio formatted only, but you're going to get a review for SmackDown. Then tomorrow night, we could be live for Payback. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Or not. But either way, in the next 24 to 48 hours, you will get a Payback review as well. So there's a lot of content coming up on the channel. BC's fully amplified. I hope you guys are too. That's it. Until next time. And there will be a next time. Top guy, I'm out. BC saying check you. Peace. Damn. Salute!